So that is a plus. One more statistics I'll give you. China has a trade surplus with 150 countries in the world. India, we have a trade deficit with more than 100 countries in the world. And we talk about our forex reserves of more than $600 billion. But we have external liabilities which are more than $600 billion. So our actual net worth is minus. It's not plus. Whereas China, they are the largest lender in the world with more than $3 trillion of reserves. So all this the background. So EAU says that 2024 world will grow only by 2.3%. Most of them have downgraded the growth for 2024. And then again, disinflation is being driven by supply factors, including progress in addressing supply chain snarls. So we all know that inflation in US and UK, Europe, they went above 9%. That is the time I wrote, not an article, actually this was shared with the leaders across the world. Why they should start reducing the interest rates. I gave an example of India, where even though we are not raising the rates, we are able to grow. So I said that the focus should be on more on economic growth than on inflation. So that itself will take care of. Whenever an economy grows, many people across the segments, they also do well. I told you about wealth effect. So whenever economy is doing well, even the companies which are not efficient, they'll do very well. Yeah. So when economy is doing badly, only companies which are efficient will do well. So we said that fortunately now we find that US is thinking about, I'm coming to that later. And one more thing, scenario related to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Again, I would say it's a positive thing which is happening now. US has pumped in more than $40 billion into the war. And people are saying it's mainly being driven by motivation of arms producers. So now US does not have money. So they said that they will not be able to give. And now, of course, the Russian president is saying that we will come to a truce. So I find that might happen. So scenarios like Russia's invasion of Ukraine and US-China rivalry will remain major source of political risk. Then, and of course, now we have Hamas and Palestine. That's a bad thing to happen. We only wish and pray that it doesn't spread to other countries. But it's every possibility that this can escalate, which means more countries will get involved. Already some countries are involved, like Syria and others. So we hope that it will not escalate. There was a rumor in the beginning that since we are trying to create a competitive system for China, they have that road project going across more than 100 countries in the world. So we said in G20, we will create a Middle East corridor. So there was a rumor that why Hamas was attacked. Israel was that main reason. Our initiative should go down. My suspicion is that it could be true. Maybe it was funded by China. Yeah, that is possible. So global growth is forecast to be resilient despite higher interest rates. So of course, this slide was prepared in the month of September. After that, we saw a lot of green shoots. Now people are expecting that interest rates will come down. What is it IMF saying in their October global forecast? IMF, you know, that is one which is lending money to all the countries of the world. So they have the real pulse of every country. World Bank talks about development projects. IMF talks about helping countries around the world. So they are directly in touch with the finance ministry. I think recently they released a report on India also, Article 4 report, IMF. So their baseline forecast, they say to 2023, we will end with 3% growth. 2024, they are expecting 1% less. Historical average is 3.8. Advanced economies, they expect to grow 2.6. And 1.4% in 2024. And developing economies are projected to grow at 4.1. And in 24, 4%. And global inflation will decline steadily. This is as of October, yeah. From 8.7% to 5.8% 2024. And of course, what we hear, you know that RBI has set a target where earlier they used to set a point target for inflation. It should be 5%, 6% like that. And about 5-6 years ago, India decided that instead of looking at a point, look at a range. So they said that it should be plus or minus 2%. So 4% target. So it could be 2, it could be 6. As far as it is between 2 and 6, it is fine. So that is what RBI. So now people are saying that it should be within that. That is the expectation. So in terms of growth projections, 2022, of course, this was after 2021. So we saw 3.5% growth. 2021, it was more than 9%, I think. And 2023, 3, and 2024, slight reduction, global. Advanced economies from 2.6 to 1.5 to 1.4. An emerging market, almost same level. Region, if you look at United States, 2.1, 2.1, 1.5. So, and Euro area, 3.3 they grew. This year only 0.7, mainly due to inflation and other reasons. Next year they expect 1.2%. Middle East, 5.6 to 3.4. Emerging and developing Asia. Asia is one where most of the growth will come from. As I told you, China contributes a lot to the incremental GDP growth in the world. If you see the total growth in terms of billions of dollars, 18 billion, even if they grow at 4%, it is $720 billion. They grow at 5%. This year, I think everybody has revised the estimate upwards for China. And Latin America, they have a problem, 2.3. But one good thing is that now all the critical minerals are there, like countries like Chile and other countries. I think they hold reserves of more than 30-40% what is required for electric vehicles. So going forward, they might do well. And of course, Africa, 4%. So this is a country-wise. I will not read it, but United States, they expect only 1.5. If it grows higher than that, we should not be surprised. Euro area 1.2, Germany 0.9, France 1.3, Italy. So even before the crisis, if you look at most of the developed countries in Europe, they are all growing less than 2%. And most of them had a inflation less than 2%. In fact, last financial crisis, 2008, when it happened, everybody wanted inflation to be at least 2%. You remember, only when the inflation is there, it is good for companies. But that is an excuse for increasing the price and increasing the profit. Inflation is good for companies. Yeah. So this is then other countries, emerging and developing, they are actually expecting 4.2. Now people are revised. Now they are doing a lot of internal stimulus measures in China. So now there are some indications that it could be 5% also. India, 6.3 could be 6.57. So these two may be up. All others are like this. Russia not doing well as of now. And of course, these are the other countries. Asia will contribute a lot to the growth in terms of Asia Pacific growth, the total growth. I already explained. US interest rates. So the Federal Reserve is expected to begin cutting interest rates by mid-2024. The funds rate target range is projected to fall from 5.25 to 3.75, about 1.5% less by the end of 2024. But there are some analysts who say that the rate could be cut by even 2%, which means from 5.25 to 3.25. That's also possible. Yeah. And Federal Reserve is poised to cut interest rate 6 times in 2024. Then 70% of committee members of Fed believe that the fund rates will be lowered by the end of 2024. So 70%.
What the current fund rate?
Yeah.
What the current fund rate?
5.25, no? 5.25 to 5.5. It's a range. So dollar outlook, as we are all aware, they are going to reduce the interest rate. So what happened when they kept the interest rate at 5%? That is really competitive compared to Indian interest rates. Earlier they used to have 1% and 2%. So what has happened? Whenever the developed countries increase interest rates, wherever they invested the money outside, all that money goes back to the country, that Europe or US. So that is what we saw, I think, in the year 2013, where our rupee depreciated to from 63 to 68.50. So since they started increasing the rates, all the money, FIIs started pulling out the money. So now we see this month a lot of money has come in. The expectation is that US will reduce the interest rates, then it will be attractive to invest in India. So Goldman Sachs expects a growth rate of 2.1. So dollar is likely to weaken. So what happens if the money, dollars which are invested in US is going to go out, which means the currency becomes weaker. Yeah, rupee appreciate or it can be at the same level. If you are able to attract more FII flows, like this month, what has happened? December, how much? 7 billion. Huh? How much money had come? December. Huh?
In rupee terms,
$4 billion. Huh?
that is only for secondary market.
Huh?
The entire equity market.
But FII is only secondary market. FDI, I think it was better compared to last year. In the month of November, I think it was 80%. Huh? First week. Huh? But at the end of every day, it comes, no, that cumulative FII investment. Yeah. So the price of oil is expected to be 70 to 100. We know that after the Russia war, US government went and told Russia, huh?
70 to 100 range.
Yeah, it's a range.
Very wide.
Nowadays people don't give a single point forecast. Well, you have 10, 12 scenarios they look at, then they prepare themselves for each scenario.
45%.
Yeah.
Geopolitics is so
So unpredictable.
this commodity is very sensitive.
Yeah. Goldman Sachs expects 100. See, if you remember, I don't remember the year, when Goldman Sachs brought the report that it will reach $200, the oil price went up to $147.43. 2008.
2007 end.
End is it? So it went to 147.48. So now Goldman says 100. You know that many times oil price is also determined by traders, like stock market trading. So
Filling up tankers to suck out the supply.
Yeah.
To raise the prices.
Yeah.
Just picking up tankers, filling it up and allowing it to roam about and not supplying to people.
Yeah. US has got a strategy.
That is all seasonal. 1 or 2 months you can manage.
But US has got a strategic reserve of more than 9 months of oil required. And whenever the oil price goes above $50, they have this rigs, no? What is that? What do you call? Shale gas. They become very profitable. For Saudi Arabia, I think it is $11 or $12, it is profitable. So for each country, the profit of crude oil, the price differs. So it is $12, $20, $25. So for shale, I think it is $40. So above $40, it is profitable to excavate oil in USA. So cheapest, I think it is in Saudi Arabia or maybe Russia. Iraq.
Iraq has the cheapest. Iraq oil is like water.
But all Iran oil goes through Iraq only.
Sorry.
Iran oil is routed
So
through
that I
Iraq
know,
only.
But in terms of cost of production, Iraq is the cheapest.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So that is crude oil. Gold, so they are saying that in MCX, it will range, again, you're talking about range, 57,000 to 67,000 range.
No, no, gold, you should always track on the dollar.
Huh?
That
Yeah, that is coming later. So factors influencing prices include central bank action, how central banks are going to act, interest rate cuts, geopolitical tension, growth concern, central bank gold buying. So whenever there is a perception of high risk is increasing, then people bet on gold. But I think this year gold has given a return of more than 15% in Indian rupees. I don't know about dollar term, but in India it is 15%. Yeah. So predicted price based on expert analysis, price of gold could increase in 2024, hitting around 2,100 per ounce. World Bank forecast. Yeah, please.
Sorry, 2100.
Already?
Yes.
Oh, but they are saying 2024.
No, today.
Today it is 2100.
Yeah.
Good, good.
I mean, it is-
He has also not depleted, right? Has not been volatile.
Rupee is stable, yeah.
Yeah, it has been stable.
But-
If you're talking about return in Indian rupees, it's the same return in India.
15% we have got.
Yes, same.
So, but World Bank predicts $1,750 to $1,900. So,
Yeah, but you're right. If you same gold chart, if I say from technical analysis, if you see the same gold chart in USD and rupee, the charts look entirely different.
different?
Yeah.
Okay.
And gold price always determined by dollars. Or rupee is just outcome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the geopolitics is the most unpredictable. What will happen? So we are into all type of conflicts are going on now. So we can only wish and pray that they are all resolved soon. An economic slowdown. Now, if the inflation is moderated in Europe and other countries, then economic slowdown, they should, like I said, they should focus on economic growth now. Interest rates, that is the main factor which is attracting capital into any country. So as far as people are going to reduce the interest rates, it's good for the economy. The people, consumer, the projects, the government is a major borrower. I doubt. Because I don't know. There are experts, but he is also a banker. My view is that
50 bips on the.
India bigger ones, USD.
yeah. If there is an interest rate reduction in USA, it will happen here. Yeah. Inflation, of course, all of them had inflation higher than us. Now they are all moderating. Hopefully, they will come to kind of reasonable levels in Europe and US already. I think it was only 3% when I was reading 3-4 days ago. And UK also it is moderated. Europe also it is moderated. Supply chain disruption, Red Sea, we know it was increasing the cost of freight by 40%. So many of the Indian companies are.
Disruption.
Yeah, it increases the cost, no? Just now it happened, no? Red Sea, 40% increase in freight cost. And it was taking more time to go to the same place. Huh?
Suez also.
Yeah. Suez Canal also. That is a major revenue for your Egyptian government. Huh? They earn more than $30 billion, allowing ships, about 19,000 ships pass through Suez Canal every year. So they earn more than $40 billion as a fees collected from the ships.
Yes.
The energy price, it's one major factor. We all know when there was a crisis, Russian crisis, Ukraine crisis happened, energy prices in UK went up by 3-4 times. So that was contributing to very high inflation. Of course, technology changed. Now what we are hearing, artificial intelligence is going to take away jobs. People are saying up to 40%. 40%. It might, but there is a question mark. Yeah. So technology. No. See, whenever a new technology changes, it creates new types of jobs. But we don't know artificial intelligence. For example,
Saying it can think anything.
yeah.
So like that, anything need to be controlled.
So I think yesterday government said that something about artificial intelligence, and of course environment threat. This is one of the major areas where we saw in recently Tuticorin, then Chennai. So these are all people are saying that no, 4-5 days.
Few years ago also.
Yeah, very bad. So these are all due to people are saying it's a climate change. India, of course, we know last quarter we reported very good results. Yeah.
That's a very good. Chennai is not to do with real estate.
Yeah, I think we'll let him finish first. then.
Yeah, let them. No, it should be cleared then and there, yeah. India, of course, as I told you, they have reported a very good number. One good thing I can tell you, last 5 years, government was able to increase the tax revenues very well, year on year. So that has really stood them in good stead. Whatever they are doing, of course, they called the big companies and told them to show the correct revenue and pay the tax. And all of us were covered by what is that, AAS statements and all that, which has increased our taxes. Yeah. So this year already they have seen, I was just seeing the number they are showing. I think already there is a 25% growth in revenue, tax collection. So that is one good thing for the government, with which it is able to spend. Capex number they are just putting when I was going from this side to that side. Capex compared to last year, 4,45,000 crores. This year it is more than 5,55,000 crores. Almost 25% increase in capex by government. Now I was reading a report where they are saying even private capex will shoot up. Reliance, Ambani, Adani, all these people are going to put up hydrogen plant and all that. And of course, everybody is gung-ho about EV and renewable power. So,
Can I have a perspective on that? Will I interject now?
yeah, please.
So I feel it is strongly, so please pardon me on this.
Yeah,
The
please.
tax front, I think especially on GST, the government is sort of choking the economy. The rates are disproportionately high and going hammer and tongs. What I see, talk to the business guys and folks. So the government, yes, is collecting a lot of revenue, but in the bargain is actually choking a lot of people. Even in terms of direct taxation or corporate taxation, a lot of deduction exemptions are being ruled out,
Yeah.
which is creating more revenue for the government.
Correct.
So the impact of that, on the one hand, you can see government is getting a lot of money, which may be spending on infrastructure. At the same time, disposable income in the hands of the consumers is going down, which is why you're seeing maybe the consumption is taking a backseat from the population at large, but the money is going into the hands of the government and being spent there. So there's a shift in the kind of spending pattern, which is also reflecting probably in the stock market. SMG companies not doing so well, and the infra and capital market companies doing well, because there's a complete shift in spending. Good, bad, again, but you can see this trend happen.
But I told you about wealth effect, no? There's also increase the wealth for many people.
Yeah, there's a
So they don't mind, multiplier effect.
effect.
And he is advising financial services companies. In fact, yesterday or today, I think ICICI Prudential was slapped with 270 crores GST. So there are a lot of complaints on especially banking. Banking, if a check is bouncing, there is a GST for that. If a credit card company is going to charge you something, Then there is a CGST and SGST. So, like you said,
There is a suggestion,
uh,
view of time management. Now we are India growth story. After 5 minutes, we have another presentation which is ready.
yeah, yeah.
And then so we can.
No, I am finishing, that's all.
Yeah.
So government
Focus
spending,
on India growth story
yeah,
on this slide, and then we can change to the next presentation. And we listen, we see the thing, and when you see that we can have more interaction and
so I already told you about investment capex. It's higher by 25% by government. And also states are spending. And startups, we know the story. Startups witnessed a 65.8% drop in terms of value between January and November. And equity markets, we all know. And what people are saying is that right now our P is about, he says now it has gone up to 21. I was reading a report where they are saying 19, which is like a long-term average. But he says in the last 1 week, it has gone up to 21. That is what he was saying. So I don't know. So how, and he says that there is every scope that it might be volatile going forward.
which is on EV.
EV, I will not elaborate.
It's expected for Elon Musk.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
think Ani can share more about it, what
Yeah, yeah.
can make a difference.
so I will not elaborate. Only thing, last line I'll read. The global electric passenger vehicle market is projected to reach 312 billion by 2024. And 99% of EVs in the world are manufactured in China. 99%. And there's a report today that for the first time, BYD, the car maker of China, will overtake Tesla in terms of cars. If you had visited Shenzhen, even 7-8 years back, they were running 20,000 electric buses. If you had visited 20 years back, it was a village. Some 7-8 years back, it was all full of electric buses. So green finance, I will not
And this
elaborate.
also I would suggest, Ani, you can suggest international perspective later when you speak, no?
So I will not elaborate on green finance.
Green and finance and.
Huh?
ESG also.
That is the government, they have a target, some target. That's all. Yeah, on green finance and EV, I think you will be talking about it.
Lots more from you, but they can be now. Start the next one.
You want to come here? Yeah.